we ordered a few more microphones because when the public, we're going to have to start using the podium with the mic. I know when we watched back some of our live streams, they haven't been able to hear us very well. They hear the ones that are right in front of the mic really well, but then there's some feedback when they speak over there. So we're going to be tweaking that. So we're just going to turn them on. I'm going to kind of stand up here in front and run the slideshow and talk to them. Yeah, people will put their ear up to the computer trying to figure out what we're saying. So again, the purpose of this work session is to kind of review the last bond issue that we as a board and school corporation took out to do the prime the objectives of this bond was to do renovations and upgrades to the facility. And most of these general bonds or corporation bonds are limited to those uses. They have to be for really brick and mortar items or equipment, things like that. They can't really pay for people unless they're contractors that are doing the work for you. So just a little bit of a reminder of kind of what we can use these bonds for and where they come from and paid out of debt service. The reason that number at the top was really close to $5 million because that was our bonding capacity. And they look at the AV at the time and say this is how much you can do without having it be a controlled project. And so we were able to borrow this money without having to go out to the public and have a petition remonstrance or referendum, anything like that. So we've done this several times over the years, and this just helps us keep up on the maintenance and the repairs of all the things we have on our campus and add improvements. But the other thing that it does, it really offsets our operations fund that cannot sustain those improvements. For instance, now when we want to go buy a bus and it's going to cost us $150,000, we don't have that kind of money in our operations fund. In fact, we are currently transferring money from our education fund to operations to make that whole. And operations can pay for people, so that's our custodians and our bus drivers and our central office staff and insurance and lights, electric, utilities, all those things that come out of operations, and that takes over 100% of our operations funds to do that. So we really have $0 to put back into the buildings and grounds and upgrades that we're doing here. So, hey girl, kitchen's open back there. So with the $5 million that we borrowed here, you can see there we've got just a little over $4 million in expenditures. Things that you've approved that are in process already is about $500,000, just shy of $600,000. So you add those numbers together, and we're at 4.5, almost 4.6 million, with 376,000 left. At each board meeting, I give you this little update, and we talk about what's next. And I think now that the money's kind of coming to an end, we need to prioritize the last little bit of things that we've talked about doing. And Jay, for your information, the way that the list of projects came about is we had an admin team that consisted of our athletic director, our building principals, and then JB, our facility director as well. And so we sat down and we talked about all the things that we've had on our big planning list. We've got a 10-year document that I don't think has been updated on a regular. Andy Honeycutt helped us with that 15 years ago, I think, and we've kind of been working off some of those things. But we developed that priority list of who, whether it was athletics, they ranked their priorities, principals ranked their priorities, and we kind of went through that process and shared with the board, and the board was able to rank their priorities. And we came up with a master list. And I'm proud to say that that $5 million has covered the majority of the things on that list. So we have a short list left that we'll get to here in a minute. So that piece that's $577,000, I said that you've already approved, that we're working on trying to get there. You'll notice the top one there, the turf. That turf that we had donated from IU is still out here in our bus garage. And McIntyre is going to be installing that in that courtyard where our preschool now is. And so this is really a preschool playground expenditure. And it's just so muddy in there. It's the timing of this. We hope to get it in over spring break. Well, that's not going to happen because of all the rain. So we have to be able to remove all of the current all finished, that inside interior courtyard will be virtually zero maintenance with no mulch, no dirt, proper drainage, all the things. Hell's Construction, we have a little left to pay on the tennis courts. We're waiting until they're finished. And again, timing and weather is the big thing there. We're a little concerned. They told us, we get them in as soon as we can here, maybe when the weather breaks in March. But now they're telling us it's going to take about a week and a half to 2 weeks to grind everything down, get the new sports coat put on there, and it needs to be 50 degrees and rising that whole time, and has to be dry. So you can see where my concern is with the spring, to get a week and a half, 2 week period with zero rain and warm weather is a challenge. And we knew that going into it, but we were really thinking we could get our April season, when we start April 5th or 6th, get our matches at home. We've had to move those, and our plan now for the girls' season is they can practice on the courts. We've got temporary lines on there. We worried a little bit about the concrete maybe being a little slick, but we looked at what we were playing on, and the 3-inch cracks on that surface. We felt like those old courts were probably in worse shape than playing on solid concrete here for practice. We will move all of our April matches away, and the goal, we still have one on the books on I think April 30th. We're going to try to get that home match. We do host conference in May. We'd like to be able to open the courts and host conference if we can get the courts done at some point in there. They also have a plan for an alternative. I think Ship was going to call. I'm not sure where the boys practiced last year. They might have went to Donner Park, but he's going to call. So if Hells comes out and says we're ready to do this, we can shift our practices and go somewhere else to practice. But other than the bounce back wall that they're going to install, some wind screening, and the surfacing, the courts are ready to be done. So any questions on the tennis courts and usage out there? After looking at the site, the only other thing, we've kind of spread out the existing bleachers we had there. We may want to look at other bleacher units in the future, but I want to wait and kind of we can kind of see how the crowd flow is and who's using it, who's not. I don't want to go overkill and have a bunch of bleachers out there.
Let's say you walk over and bring your own chairs. We want to make sure there's enough seating. But I don't see anything wrong with the wait and see mentality on that.
Skinny Dog Graphics, the perf. So you noticed around the building, we've got most of that perf up. They've got a very specialized perf that's going on the ag building. We've approved those, and they're coming out to install this week. And the last thing that $21,000 is holding on is the wrapped school bus that you approved. That perf design hasn't been approved yet. So once that's the last thing they'll do. They'll do the ag perf this, and then we'll be able to pay out the rest of what we owe them. Snyder Recreation, that is, again, the playground, that landscaping, McIntyre landscaping. Once the turf's down, we already have the equipment ordered. That is the preschool equipment. New swings and one new, it's called the Castro Fort, and that will be out there in the preschool area. So we'll have turf around everything, poured in place surface. Just a reminder what all that was. Now, so that was $104. We're holding on that payment until it's all installed.
Because our part, right? Just for Dave's benefit, there was some
there's about
additional funds.
$50,000 of matching money that's going to come in. Heritage funds doing that. I think the totals, and Whitney's, I'm getting new information from Whitney that there may be another 20 available that we could go after. So all in all, we've spent, we've added some turf already out there. We've added some concrete work. And so we've already spent out there, and this $104 is what we're going to owe to Snyder, and we'll be reimbursed for part of that through the grant. Seal coating, we've done most of the campus. Seal coating's finished. That south lot where the tennis courts were being worked on is not. So they need to come back and do that. So that right there is that south tennis lot that will be coated. And then Robertson paving along there. If you've driven the north side of the Hope building, where parent drop-off is, that lane is starting to deteriorate. It needs to be milled down. That's what Robertson's doing for us for the 110. We're getting some paving work done there. And then TNT Electrical, that includes the thing I think you just approved, which was reconnecting the electric out there by the tennis courts, and then some other electrical upgrades.
I think that's on the agenda today, or unless it was.
That was the last time. I think there were like 17,000 that was that, and then we still owed them a little bit for the awnings that they've done, so that's in there too. So that's things you've already approved. I don't want to spend too much, but I thought maybe give Jay a little bit of sense of, okay, so the bulk of the money was tennis courts, this building you're sitting in right now. Our goal was really to get off our transportation off-site and in a different place, and then we bought 3 new school buses. And so when you look at the total of the $5 million, those 3 priorities came first, and then we started looking at these little items as we come through that add up over time. So I'm gonna, let's see, work completed. I've already talked about some of this. I've got some photos I'm gonna show you that do better, do justice over this. But really, we did purchase some equipment. We bought 2 mowers over the course of this last year and a half, a stand-up and a zero-turn. We bought a new truck that JD just pulled in, so he can talk about that if you want to know more about how the truck's working.
Is that plowing it yet?
I want to thank Doc for saying we wouldn't get any snow. That truck will plow the heck out of snow. I'm telling you what.
So we did get a new blade for that set up, and then they pushed, and then a new salt spreader as well. And then, I put the 3 buses on there. And so that just gives you, that's not everything we've done, but that is a quick hit of some things that I just talked about. And so moving forward, when we look, and now I'll have to figure out this TV because it looks so much better and brighter on the photos that I took. But a lot of our branding and our marquee signs, they came out of this bond fund as well. And I think those have been a nice upgrade for our facility. Since we've put these wayfinding up here and the large Jets Fieldhouse, I've now had one person driving around in the parking lot looking lost and asking me, which way to the Fieldhouse? They can find it now. And that was the biggest question we had when people were wandering around our facility. So that was a nice upgrade. We went with the branding on all of our exterior, our perf, which is also a safety upgrade for us. And again, it's not 100%. I mean, we've talked about that before. So at night when the light's shining, you can see in at night. But during the school day, it is pretty much, unless you're right up on it, you can't see in and see the students. So I think all of our exterior doors, once the ag is done, will be covered.
Now the cover up underneath there.
The awning.
Yeah, up underneath there, that was another thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm up there right now. I drove past the other night and looked. Having that redone, especially on the elementary school with that big open area and jets on the front, it really does look a lot better, I have to admit.
It's been a while, but we started with a lot of concrete work. We did the sidewalks all the way around the track out to the pad where we put the bleachers. We've done a new drop-off sidewalk here. This one in the middle is Hope. And the one on the far left over there is out to the tennis courts from baseball. And so it's going to just make that a lot, well, again, none of that was walkable. This time I was seeing track season last year. I think I said I watched somebody in a motorized wheelchair trying to navigate out to the bleacher area. And that was not so this was necessary for access and for us to be able to be compliant in a lot of ways. It does connect to our new building, our press box out there. So we did a lot of concrete work. Again, all the parking lots were steel crack filled and steel coated and restriped. So part of that. Banners, we do new banners out there on our light poles, but we have had trouble with the wind, and so we're finding new ways to get those put up there. Playground, this was a major expense at the front end of the bond, where we did put a new K through 2 playground. This used to be inside that courtyard area, which was very hard to maintain. Brought it out here, it's completely fenced in. This has been a nice addition. You ask the principals, the teachers, the kids are able to run all the way from the Hope Library to the field house and back and forth, and they don't have to worry about them getting out into traffic. So this has been a nice addition. And as you all know, that surfacing, that board and play right there underneath, that's cost as much as the equipment. It doubles our cost anytime we put that in, but they can be out there when it's wet. That is what we're putting inside that courtyard so we can get rid of mulch. Now, for cost savings, we did do mulch under the swings, and that will have to take some maintenance and upkeep. These, I wish we would have waited so long to do that. We have noticed, and then even with the spring coming now and things starting to green up, the birds just don't have anywhere to go. And so cleaning up the messes and all that, we're going to power wash everything down, and then hopefully we can keep that nice. And so, and I think they've done a pretty nice job with the final finish. The lighting, it all works well with it as well. Again, over time you forget things, but we did upgrade the south or the north concession stand. There was the popcorn and the Van Booster concession stand. Made it a little bit more roomy for them back there, and did a quick little upgrade there.
And all the parents that come in and work, that spent time in the old would just absolutely love it, so.
Fencing, again, we mashed out some of the things we've done over there by athletics as well, and they've just done some nice upgrades that way. The bleachers took a while, but we got them in. So this is our version of a grandstand that, we don't have football, but we do have events out there with track and soccer, and we want to make sure that we've got some nice bleachers, and we did that, and I think those will be more than adequate for what we need out there. We did naming and branding around the school with the doors, the window coverings, as well as naming some of our entrances to make it easier for people as they're trying to find where they need to be. Our latest addition there on the left is the arch. If you haven't driven out there that way, they got that up last week, into last week. So that's going to be our main entrance, our main gate for our outdoor athletics, funnel everybody through there. And I will tell you that Chip, he wanted me to remind you that, soccer, all the years we've had soccer, it's been a sport that's been in the red. We have to pay our officials. We don't make enough off the concessions to even break even. But since adding the fencing around the track and charging for soccer, it is now generates more than we spend. Tennis hopefully will soon to follow when he starts charging for tennis. So it does help. Every little bit helps, and it does help the athletic budget when he's making money. So we did replace the perf on the back. We've had that for a long time in the field house, and we just updated that and got some new as the other it was time to be replaced. Tennis courts, you've been out there, you've seen them, but I'm excited to get them finally finished, and we're praying for good weather. And then inside the building, there's several things that have been going on. I don't have as many pictures maybe of these items because a lot of it's painting and upgrade and auditorium. I didn't get down there to take photos, but if you haven't been in the auditorium, I think it's making huge strides. We've done some good things without spending a lot of money, but we will need to do some upgrades with the AV and TV in there. But this one was early on. This was allowing us to start our preschool program for the first time. Our early learning center. This doesn't look like much here, but these doors, we had to add these to our existing hallway, and we had to do the scan card and all that for the safety. And it completely isolates our little ones in this safe space in the center, sort of the center of our building. And so we added those exterior doors and all the perf on the window there, and so that was a good addition to just isolate these kids. We don't have traffic going through when the babies are sleeping at the daycare, and it just has been nice. So speaking of daycare, these are our two daycare rooms. We added the infant room here on your left. So all the any upgrades we had to do, any wiring, electrical, lights, along with some of the furnishings, that also was paid out of bond. The large room on your right, this is where our toddlers are. And the great thing about this room is it does exit right out to that courtyard where we already have a turf play area for them that is going to be separate from our preschool. We have fencing out there. You'll see a photo of that here in a minute. The biggest project that we took on was adding restrooms to every room. So every preschool room has a bathroom now because you guys approved that, and I can't remember our total number, but that was a pretty major expense. We were able to go right outside the building and run that out and have it connected. So we turned closets into to restrooms, and we have 4 preschool classrooms. So that early learning wing has been painted, remodeled. Everything's done over there, and it should last us a long time. Here's that outdoor area I talked about that they currently use for our infants and toddlers, and that's our daycare play area. And everything on the outside will soon be turf, and speed a little bit and give opportunity for any questions he might have or anything you guys want us to follow up on.
I'll tell you how much it echoes tomorrow night after the choir concert. It should be a huge improvement, but we'll see.
And you did mention early on it's like the debt fund. I can't remember the fund that you mentioned that kind of helped. Can you explain that a little bit further?
Okay, so anytime the school takes on debt,
Right.
whether whether it's a GO bond or whether we go after a referendum, it comes out of debt service fund.
Okay.
And so we have to pay this all back.
Right.
And so there's functions with our AV, and a lot of times, so our rate has actually been going down because our AV was going up, so the taxpayers would see would go down. Now the trend is shifting. Things have been changed over the years, and our AV is starting to drop a little bit, so it's a function of that, the tax rate goes up a little bit. But the money still has to be paid, and the levy still comes to us.
Right.
And so that rate fluctuates depending on the money we need to pay that back.
Okay.
And so we start paying, as we pay debt off, and we just had a bond council meeting about this, and so as debt comes off, and we have other projects we need to take on, we try to be very strategic to have minimal impact on the taxpayers, to make sure that we're providing what we need for the school, but also being considerate of the taxpayers. And so that's that's really what you're charged with, is to look and say, do we really need these projects, do we not? And that's why we spend so much time talking about them, to make sure we're being responsible with our dollars.
When does the school come off?
In 2029, the large bond issuance comes off. And that's what we've been talking about with bond council, is our capacity goes way up. So if we have, a roof failure and we have to get a roof in 3 years, we're gonna have capacity to do those things. Right now, one project we've talked about with the rest of the board that you're not, haven't been brought up to speed yet, but we're gonna talk about is our HVAC. When we did the big project, we have a new boiler room, we have newer equipment, but then through an analysis, we found we're not very efficient. Our operations fund is paying, I don't know what our total number off the top of my head is, but the dollars we're paying out for electricity usage and all of our utilities is higher than it should be. And so to get that system efficient, we have to look at all our equipment. Well, we found Hope Elementary has equipment that's original 1980s equipment. And so replacing that is going to be a priority. Replacing even some of the housing equipment that's late 90s. The useful lifespan, we've got contractors that have come in and told us this is about what they should last, and we're well beyond that with some. So rather than get too far behind, we've got to say, okay, how much is that going to cost us? When does it make sense to go after some dollars to do that? Maybe now that we have money coming off is the time to look at that. And so that's really, it's a numbers game. We've got Stiefel is who we use for they're our financial advisors, and then Thomas Peterson is our bond counsel. And so they met with me a couple weeks ago, and we kind of strategized out, how does this look in the future and what do we want to do? So the bond side of things, like I said, you can do up to a certain amount with just you guys approve. And then if you want to go bigger, if we had to build a new school, you're going to have to go get public commitment to that, and you could do something different. But we don't have that need. We're in a very good place, I feel like, with our facility. We just have to maintain and keep it up. And that's really why JB spends a lot of time looking at what do we do here and how do we maximize these things. So the next big thing is looking at our HVAC needs, and I think they gave us a rough estimates on that already. And
I was going to ask, is that millions?
it's millions. I think there's two phases. There's the control side of things, which would touch everything in our building. And I want to say, was that one 3 or 4 million? And the other one was like 5. So the total of all was somewhere between the $7 and $9 million. But I think to get started and look at that, I think if we looked at another 5 million, which is a limit that we have, or do we go bigger and do it all at once? There's lots of considerations. There's the timing of equipment, the cost of equipment. If we wait 2 years, what does that look like as opposed to doing something now? All things that we've discussed to a certain degree, but we need to dig into that more. And I really think the timing is probably the next 3 to 4 months. We hear more from the experts, and we talk more about, ask the questions, and then kind of see where we go.
So are you constantly maintaining those?
That's something we're also working on, is how do we maintain them effectively to keep them up and running as long as possible? We have to right now.
Well, especially the form, you have to climb up inside to
Yes.
do everything.
Yeah, we've got some issues that were design issues to begin with, but we managed.
Now, I will say, those daily maintenance on those or yearly maintenance on the older equipment probably isn't that high. They tend to run right now. The problem is when they don't, then where are we at with our heating, cooling needs? The other piece is we calculated, just at the end of last year, we're spending over the last 5, 6 years on a newer system, we're spending about $50,000 to a local mechanical company to come troubleshoot why this area is hot, this area is cold, why this isn't working. And really, your system should be, if they're working correctly, pretty much set it, forget it. But instead, we've got to go hunt down valves and we've got to replace units and things. And so that $50,000 will add up over time. And so we're saying, that shouldn't be how that is. So how do we fix that? And it's going to take a bigger dollar to do that.
JB, on some of that, is that just a matter of old equipment being new, working with new equipment, new?
Part of it is things in the past. For instance, we know we have a flow problem. At some point, somebody dumped a lot of cold water into the system, which glycol, and they dumped it, but they didn't purge, they didn't completely pump the system out, clean it out, and then they put new glycol in. So little things like that, we're trying to figure out the most efficient way to filter the system, which right now we've been doing it really old-fashioned. We're running it through basically, it looks like a giant sock filter, and pulling that stuff out. We're changing that filter about 4 times more often than we need to. Inexpensive. Those filters are not real expensive. We have a lot of little issues like that. Some of it's just age. Some of it is maybe what we've done in the past wasn't the best idea. And with a system that big, that's real easy to happen. I told Sean I got my second master's degree in this past 3 years, and it's been on HVAC because it's massive.
And I'm going to for you, Jay, I'll tell you this. The problem I have with our system is, let's see, that was put in 2010, 11. By the time all the equipment was put in and the connector was made, we have replaced 3 boilers since 2011.
But how much of that is whole water? How much of that is water?
It
Why
shouldn't
it's not
be
being
any.
done right.
It shouldn't be any because of the softener system and the filter systems. But for some reason, it has.
So the short of it is, we believe after investigating and going through all the channels and when warranties wouldn't pay, what it came down to is the wrong boilers were spec'd out and put in the first place. They were aluminum in a system that has copper in it. It didn't work out. And then when we were told these are the best ones, now put this in, we had one of those fail, and due to water quality and lack of filtration, even though we felt like we were told we had the best of the best. And so trusting that and making sure we have somebody that's reputable come in is important to me, and saying, they work with schools, they know, they do this all the time. Again, I don't want to go back 15 plus years ago, but I don't know that the company that spec'd all that out was that for us at the time. Maybe it was at the time, maybe it was overall I think that project was good. It's put us in a building where we're in one campus location. The concept of that was good, but there were things missed, and there were issues with it that we've been fixing over the last 10 plus years.
If you don't mind me interjecting, for example, water heater. We have one of our industrial water heaters go out. I start researching because I don't know what's because the quote I got blew my mind that an industrial water heater cost that much. What was it, $50,000 for one water heater? We have 4 back there. So I started doing the research on that exact water heater because they don't make it anymore. It's forever. What I found out was the year that it was installed, it was already a year out not being made. So in other words, somebody had these water heaters sitting back in a warehouse, and the contractor said, I need a really good deal, which is great. I mean, that is great if you can do that. But what you don't realize is now that we're, how many years down the road, you can't repair those. Those parts are not made anymore. So at the time, it was a great idea. It was like, holy moly, man, we can save a ton of money. And if you really think about it, it lasted that long with Hope Water, even, you know, any software issues we've had or whatever. It may not have been a bad idea at the time. And we all probably would have said, heck yeah, we can save how much money? Let's put them in. It's brand new. They should last us. So
I think the takeaway for me is that we're trying to learn from what happened in the past and say, how can we make it better going forward and make sure we are looking at all angles, and that's really what we're talking about. So does that answer your question about the dollars and the buckets? Because that'll really be in our next update. We'll talk about school funding and all of those, but it's really that we couldn't do these things out of our operations fund because our operations fund levy is only like 1.5 million. And again, 99% of that is in, you know, utilities and salaries. And I think even probably more than 99%. But so anyway.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break and grab the food's back here. We don't want to get too cold. Grab your food and we'll start this next part. We can eat while we talk and while we work.
yes, I do. I meant to grab them, and I didn't. I grabbed the ice and everything else. Let me go get the napkins. I got you. Just look at them. I said I need to grab them, and I didn't grab them. I brought ice. There's pops.
Here's chicken.
There's just a mix of things, so we'll grab whatever looks good to you.
Tenderloin.
Should be like 3 different tenderloin.
Wraps.
Couple.
And tenderloin.
Two more tenderloins.
So there's tenderloins and hamburgers. Which do you want?
You guys go. I'll take a wrap. I'm gonna leave that out.
There's the chicken wings.
Oh, napkins. You can say you walk all the way back
Yeah,
there to get them.
there they are.
All right, this one's first come, first served. Anybody going to the game on Saturday
Planning on it.
and would like a ticket?
Oh,
I only got 3 that Chip had left, so
we only have 3 left, you said?
3
So
tickets.
hopefully there's more online I can get, cause that.
Well, yeah, but this one you don't have to pay for.
Well, I prefer really to pay with my credit card and get charged.
Yeah.
I've had people hit me up on that one too. How come you're doing that? That's not us.
You want to pay the extra?
That's IHSA.
I'm glad we get to go to Seymour.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the semi-state, because they're a semi-state host too.
Yeah.
So I wonder if
Well, it all depends on who we
You said yes.
Yeah, basically, you know, there's nobody else.
Sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But that's one list I gotta buy.
I was selfishly hoping that, I'll stop for it. Because.
You're going?
Yeah, I'm
Here,
gonna buy
I'll use this one if you get your other one.
I'm
I'm
going on
going.
Saturday too.
Huh?
So we're trying, I don't know, I haven't really.
I have one.
Oh, yeah. They love it.
I'm gonna be
Your boys are nephew.
Oh, they're
They
excited.
were like, your grandpa would buy one of these,
Right,
right?
and if anybody needs a place to park, 574 Lasher Drive, it literally is right around the corner. You go to driveway, and I've got streetways, it doesn't fill up from,
You only charge us $20 per car.
Yeah, $20 per car. No, seriously, if you need a place to park, call me and I'll tell you exactly where to pull in.
Now, I didn't realize, I was looking it up, that, so, you know, Newcastle is the largest gym in the world, you know, high school gym. Seymour's second. But when that came out in 2019, there was some scuttlebutt about, well, we don't know about that, so they sent people in, they looked at it, and Seymour actually, for a short time, was number 1. They flip-flopped them, and then Newcastle did a renovation and became number 1 again. So, and I think Anderson had the largest, but they closed the Wigwam.
The old wigwam.
I was always told it had something to do with the measurement of the seat, you went from 18 inches to 15 inches or something like that. I don't know about anybody else's room, I don't fit in 15 inches of seat, sorry.
All right, well, while you guys are eating, I'm gonna go through this list. Like I said, so all the things that we've done previously were on a priority list. There were a few things that, we just talked about the HVAC, that was on the list, and we kind of pushed it back and said that's gonna be for later. And later is probably now, we need to talk about it. But that number is larger than what we have left, so whether we do anything with the remainder of this money that goes to that, my advice would probably be, we need to look at another issue, to get that project started. So we really, when I look at what we have left, that number was just shy of 400,000, 380, what I had on the previous slide.
Yeah, 376.
376. So and I'd say that's pretty conservative because I've not included any of the interest that these funds have gained over the years. So we probably have north of 400,000 or more left over to decide what are our priorities. So going over these real quick, the auditorium, like I said, we've done flooring in the auditorium. We've got new wall panels, sound absorbing wall panels. We've wrapped the ductwork. We've painted the ceilings. We have, did I miss anything? I think that covers the paint and the aesthetics of the area. Lighting, new lighting upgrade. So really the next thing is AV and sound. Allison has got me these quotes. I have a few things for you tonight I can share. I'll probably email them to you because it really gets in the weeds of the type of equipment and all these things. And the quotes go from $90,000 down to like 20. And it really depends on what they're including in those quotes. And so she's going back and asking them, okay, if we want all new speakers, control panels, the whole works, or if we want to just upgrade our major soundboard, maybe not our lighting board, and we want to pick and choose, that's where that dollar amount will fluctuate. So I don't have, as I sit here tonight, a real good handle on the way we think we need to go in there, but what we've talked about is it needs to be more user-friendly. Because what we're getting into is anytime we go up there, you have to go up into the sound room, and then you got these panels that we train one or two people on, and when those one or two people leave or that student graduates, and that knowledge is gone, we have to get the company back out there, or people go up, and what most likely happens is they just start pushing buttons, and they think this will get it to work, and when it doesn't work, people come in, the ones that know how to use it, it doesn't work for them because they don't know all the buttons that have been pushed. So there's a better way to do it, and we want to upgrade the control systems when we do this. We already need a new projector in there, a new screen system, and so sound and audio or visual is going to need to be in there. So right now I'm holding about $50,000 saying that's probably going to be a rough estimate of what it's going to cost. It could be less, it could be more, but we will bring you quotes and you guys can have some discussion on what you think needs to happen in there. The main use of that room has been, we rent it out for events, Thanksgivings, birthdays, things like that. We also use it for staff meetings, for some of our banquets, and then our choir, I think, is going to be, the band and choir have used it. The space is a little small to do our combined concerts, which we move to the gymnasium a lot of times. But it is used by students, our play, they're practicing in there right now. So we have some other things we want to do, and there's some other upgrades. Our warming kitchen is an area we didn't finish in the first project when it was created. We've recently gutted it. It had a lot of mixed match cabinets and some old refrigerators and storage, basically. So we've gutted that space, we've painted it, and we want to look at doing a fairly cheap renovation, inexpensive renovation in there, and we'll bring you a number of what we think that's going to be. JD's been pricing just box full cabinets, putting them on our butcher block countertops. I think it's going to be around $10,000 if we include appliances, and that will then be, right now people are setting up tables in the auditorium with all the food and all the stuff. They could actually go into that area, have an area where they, we dedicated storage. It's a relatively small amount of money that I think it would take to get that going. 10,000 would be the max at this point. I think it could be more like, what do you think, 5 or 6, depending on how we finish it out. So anyway, that's not, I don't think I have it on there, but that is part of the talk when we talk auditorium. The next one, Hope Floors. I think you did approve this already, but it was not $60,000. The flake epoxy flooring we have all through the hallways in Hope needs to be recoated. That company's coming back, and I think they're already on the schedule.
Spring break, next week,
And I want to say it was like 17 or 18,000.
17 something, yeah, 17 and change.
So the big budget number in there was because we had some quotes that wanted to stand it all, grind it all the way down and redo the floors. We don't think that's needed. We're going to give this recoat a try. I put a miscellaneous in there. We've talked about other little things, like right now windscreens we need for the baseball diamond. We're going to need, HSP needs some windscreens. We need to, I won't say need, I think those are definite. I've seen that they had to take the other ones down. There's other things we may, landscaping around the tennis courts, water and drainage. There may be some things we have to do with some tiling and things like that. So I just put a number in there for your consideration, and you talk about it, and we can get more specific if you want. Baseball fencing. So the track, we took down the mesh, the fencing, and we painted the poles, and we went back with the black coated fencing. Do we want to do that with the baseball diamond? I think we've talked about just the backstop area maybe, and then since we're going to have windscreen on everything else, maybe it doesn't make sense to do the whole baseball fence. But we've got the tennis courts all have the black coated fencing. The track has it now. Baseball is about the only thing left out there that doesn't have the black coated fencing.
If you're gonna put the windscreen on it, you basically cover the fence up.
Yeah. That's why we said maybe we just do the backstop area, and then the windscreen serves
As long as it's in good shape, I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, the backstop area does need new fencing because there's poles that have heaved and it's kind of coming in on one side. To fix all that, they've given us a price, and I don't think I have that, but it's not. I don't think it's 50,000. It may be 20. So that's something for consideration. The well, JB's still contacting companies, trying to get somebody to come out and put us a well out there.
Sure, I can eat like an adult.
We're also talking about irrigation. Back when we did the plan in early, probably 2011, 12, we talked about a rolling portable irrigation system. I think the one that Andy Honeycutt spec'd out. He was very specific. JB just had a conversation with him. Why not in-ground irrigation with the pop-up spigots, out there on the soccer field? And his comment was, they create an avenue for injuries, ankles, twisting, things like that. We're going to do some research and see what others do. I know other fields have them, and I don't know that they're reporting all kinds of injuries, but we want to check that out because when we look at the systems that are in place, we're worried that those big, heavy, wheeled systems, will they really get utilized the way they should? Are they going to be cumbersome? We want to do a little bit more research for that. But to use anything, we need to have water out there. We need to get a well to our outdoor facilities. So that's on there. The iPad purchase, again, this is going to be an approval asked for later, that we just pay that last bill out of there. And that's around $80,000 to pay off our iPads. That's shifting because that typically comes out of our
I
operations.
did that last meeting.
You may have already approved it.
thought we did.
I know it doesn't come out till May.
Or the meeting before.
We don't pay it until May. So if it's already been approved, then that will. Two other things I've thought about since we last updated this list was our greenhouse. We got a grant a few years back, and they redid the bottom of that greenhouse, but all that glass enclosure is, I don't know how old that is, and it gives us problems.
1988.
And we've had it looked at. I think it's beyond the point of, we patch some glass in and we do what we can to keep it up. They do utilize that. And now they're looking at, with our fish, our tilapia back there, they've got a cool project going where they've got plants that they're growing on top of the seed, and then they go to the greenhouse. There's a lot happening back there, and I just think our greenhouse needs some attention, and we need to at least look at a number and what that might cost us to redo the top portion. I don't think we need to change it drastically. Maybe the footprint stays the same. We just need to put new in. So we'll get some ideas in what we need to do back there. Paving and parking lot, we've got a lot of pavement, and there's some other areas that we're not addressing this time that I just think if we don't get it on the books for this issue, then when we talk about bonding for a year, 2, 3 down the road, we need to make sure paving's included in that because we don't want to get behind on it. There's nothing like having a parking lot that's falling apart and not having the money to fix it. So I'm going to stop talking for a little bit and give you your thoughts.
Is there any need for supplies, say, in the chemistry and biology lab, microscopes, things like that, or machinery in the shop area?
I can't answer that off the top of my head. I think they're pretty well equipped. When we did our last our reno of the ag area, we purchased a lot of that equipment. Now, I will say, I think we talked about additional welding equipment. And Elisa there's a few things that I think are on her list that if we asked her and Julia did back there, they're going to say, well, if we had this, it would be really great. There's a couple other partnerships we're looking at, and it's fluid because there's sometimes when we add a partner that's going to help us out, sometimes those things are donated. I would say when we talk about STEM, we always could do more, and our robotics team at the elementary is doing phenomenal. We're trying to bridge the gap from elementary to junior high without the right staffing. It's been difficult. So as we look at things like that, 3D printers, robotics equipment, I think there's some of those things that maybe we could look at. But those typically don't tend to be big ticket items that would be bondable, but if it is something we own and it is a piece of equipment, it could be taken out of bond fund.
What about woodworking equipment and machines? If they could actually do machine work on small engines and so forth, do we have anything to handle that?
We have some equipment. I'm not going to be able to tell you off the top of my head right now what that looks like. I'm sure there are, I think diagnostic equipment, that's probably something we don't have a lot of if they want to say we're going to come in and do some kind of something on the But the issue with that is a lot of times they're using that at C4. So if those kids are already in a program, they're not necessarily going to do it here at our place. The major equipment out there that we need to spend money on recently is dealing with food service. So like her kitchen out there, that freezer go down, those things are $10,000. And again, the warranty was probably up the day before it went out. It was one of those things where we just have to make sure we're keeping those things up. But they've got a pretty good setup out there. I think we can always look to see what's next. One thing that came up was somebody wanted to donate rabbits. We didn't have any. We have a small animal room, but we didn't have cages for rabbits or those type of animals. And so Elisa called me and I said, we're gonna. And it was $2,000-3,000. I said that's an expenditure we can't take out of bond, and it wouldn't take approval because it's under the threshold. So she's getting rabbit cages, and I said make sure you buy a bunch because if you've got 3 rabbits, you'll have 20. So fish and rabbits are what we're doing currently back there.
Welders, I can tell you. You could probably use a couple more.
Let's see what happens.
Especially the TIG rig combo.
Yeah.
And I can help you out as far as finding information and stuff too, just hard.
So what I see in this slide, the good thing is the things that were on our list, we have enough money to cover those. So if you said, let's just take care of the whole list, that's what we want to do, we'll do it. We can do that. But then, like I said, I've added a couple things there. The greenhouse, that's going to be a considerable amount of money. So we're going to have to prioritize. If we start adding too much on here, we're not going to have the money to do everything. But like I said, we're at the tail end of this, and we're going to talk about as debt comes off, what are we adding back on, and what some of these get pushed. One thing that got pushed a long time ago that we said we may not want them, they may not even be on the list anymore, were high school lockers. High school lockers costs went up when we talked about 5-6 years ago. I would say before COVID, it's probably almost doubled in price on those lockers. We were looking at how much they're really utilized, the places where they're located. Do we have too many lockers? We wouldn't have to replace all of them. Maybe we do them in sections. We went back and forth on a lot of these things. Policies changed over time where kids were not allowed to carry backpacks. They had to put them in their lockers. Other times they could carry them. So it just kind of, it's an ebb and a flow with that. So that's an example of something was high dollar that we've taken off of the book, and we could put it back on if we said, hey, this was a priority and we need something else. So the challenge, I think, for you guys, what I need from you, the feedback is the kind of things you want me to start looking into. So Doc brought up a great point. What about going back to our department heads and saying, okay, do you have what you need to take your lessons to the next level?
Is there something educational that can come out of this bond?
Yeah. And the difficult pieces to that is that it has to be something physical. It can't be, well, we've got this great software system that I want to utilize, and we can't do those kinds of things. We can't do subscription services, which a lot of our curriculum are. Those things can't be taken out of the bond. So it's got to be something you physically would use in your classroom. And again, technology-wise, we're in pretty good shape. So it's going to be something more specific to those very specialized curriculums. So I'm thinking like your STEM areas, your, again, the ag area, those things that maybe, oh, if we had this, this type of a drone system, the kids would really, this, I could teach them this from that. Those are the kind of conversations we'll have, and we'll try to prioritize some of these things. Is there anything on this list that you think, nah, I don't think it needs to be considered?
I can tell you now that the sound system needs replaced. I've worked with it and tried, and yeah, it needs replaced.
The baseball fence, as far as the fence goes, if it's in good shape, you're gonna cover it up with a windscreen, and I don't know that that's a priority item.
HSP, we're looking at maybe the same thing out there. It needs windscreens. The topper is just all beat up. It needs to be replaced.
What about the gates at HSP, the big ones? You might want to, they've been in bad shape for a while. You might want to look at them. Jay Reed, that's something you might, next time you got a decent day like the last few have been, roam out there and just see what kind of shape they're in, because they get the big gates on the sidewalks.
HSP?
Yeah.
I've heard about them.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
They're not in great shape. I think a lot of adjusting could be done.
But that could be a matter of get the company out there and just say, okay, for less than $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 to be able to put in new hardware and
That's
make
what
a
I
big improvement.
think, but I really need to have them come look at it, tell me what it would take to straighten them up. A lot of it, I think, is just settling. There may be some post.
Somebody said with mower deck, you could be.
Yeah, and there's maybe some posts that have to be pulled in place, but I don't see outrageous dollars cutting those fences up.
How much is it gonna cost us to get rid of the green roof out front?
Please.
Paint.
We're up paying.
We got painters.
Minor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to be minor. It's happening. It's next.
Now, I'm not sure I like what Sean picked for the color, because with this pink color, it's really,
Paint. Hot paint, stain.
That's right.
yeah.
Not HSP.
What, I know, parking. One consideration, board meetings. If we're committed to this space, which I think we are, that's not a lot of parking for our board meetings. Especially if we have something come up, and so a couple things we've talked about. If we had to evacuate students and we had to have a reunification plan, if we had our safety plan right now, I think our reunification is at a church. Reunification is one of the things we talk about a lot, because anytime there's a school crisis and reunification has to happen, it is always one of the most challenging pieces of that, is making sure you're getting the children reunified with their family as quick as possible, but in a safe way. what we've talked about is this could be our reunification site. And ideally, if you had people coming to pick a child up and we had the kids behind the closed fence and in a secure area, and actually most of our whole school could fit in our bus garage, but they could be checked out here in the front. This is again just ideas we've talked about, but the traffic flow would be the issue. Getting them in here and then back out. If we had a nice curved drive here that goes back out to the road, Raymond Street, they could come in, check them out, and go right back out. We could add parking in the front of this building if we want to just extend parking for our board meetings. So those are some talks we've had. It's consideration. The other opportunity, I guess, if we said we don't want to spend any money here, is we leave our fence open, and when you guys come, you guys park inside the gate, and then the parking becomes just for public. But if we had a highly attended board meeting, I'm thinking back to 2008 or 9 timeframe, we had to move the cafeteria. The statute just says we have to have a space big enough for the crowd that's going to be there. We've got a big enough space for, about 20 in here, 25. Past that, we're going to have to relocate anyway. But 25 people showing up, where are they going to park?
That's their.
You got all three. Yeah, you got the-
I gotta say, I see nothing wrong with opening the gate, you're going inside the gate, but
So again, I don't know that that's an expense we have to take on, but thinking about the long-range planning of this building, if we ever said we have some dollars available, what would it cost us to add parking?
Well, and what about if we were, because I know at one point in time we talked about moving the credit recovery type stuff out here, so that they were separate. If we were to do that, how much space would we need? That's another thing.
I met with Aaron Robertson 2 weeks ago. He's supposed to be pulling together just a spitball, just so we have an idea of what it would cost to add parking out front here with an exit. I told him, I said, it doesn't have to be exact, we just, so that we can bring it to you guys and say, this is what you can look like to try to do something like, because I don't have a clue, to be honest. That's why it really is for me as well, to just sit down and go, okay, now let's go get a few other companies to give us quotes, now that we know about what it should be, so.
To your question about credit recovery, I mean, if we have 10, 15 kids in any one period of credit recovery, if those came out here and kids were traveling back and forth, it would get congested. I mean, I think, just 10 cars, especially student drivers trying to park in this limited area, it's not going to be a good situation. Yeah, so, I mean, again, that's not saying we're doing any of that. That's just saying, what are we going to use this space for? Trainings, when we have people come in, special ed, Jessica hosts a special ed training, that's plenty of parking for them. I mean, again, I can give her the code of the gate. She can park inside, free up a few spots. Our own staff can park through the gate and everybody else in the parking lot. So we can manage that. I'm thinking long term. If this ever becomes a special ed office where we have staff here, if this becomes a central office where superintendent's here, if those things would ever happen, then we need to think about parking, because you're going to have daily people parking plus visitors, things like that. Again, not that that's the plan. Right now, we've got the space. We're talking about maximizing the spaces we have over at the school building. So just long-term, long-range thinking of expenditures that could be there if we wanted them to be, and if we thought that was a priority. Any other comments? Would it be helpful if I send this to you digitally? Do you want the photos? Do you want it's pretty simple, but I think that last list, if you have those things and you want to add to them, please email me, say, hey, have you guys looked, like Pat just said, have you looked at those gates out there at HSP? Have you talked to the staff about the equipment needs, things like that? If you have ideas as you process for kind of where the direction we want to go with our buildings and our facilities, this is a good time to do that. All right. That's, I think, let me move this out. Get close to being done.
Just
addition that we haven't talked about, and I wanted to bring it up because there's been a lot of talk about that sidewalk out there, and the fencing here lately. One option now that we're putting the electricity in the pole, the lighting for the parking lots, if we wanted to add, so we need electricity ran down the backside of that fence because we're going to put cameras out there. Right now, HSP has cameras. The new press box has cameras that cover the baseball diamond and the soccer field. So right now, our tennis courts are the only thing that's not under surveillance outside. We have exterior cameras at our doors that see the parking lots and all the things. So we need to have cameras outside. And again, Tech is working on the totals for those. To get the electrical down the backside of the fence, we want one on the end. I guess that would be the east end, the southeast end. There's a nice tall pole that the fencing company put in for us. One will go there. One could be put on the light pole that they're putting in now by the parking lot, and then maybe one on the baseball scoreboard would, I think, give us all the coverage we need for the court, so we can make sure if there's skateboarders or people out there when they're not supposed to be, just get that coverage.
Those are all hardwired.
So the cameras would be Wi-Fi, but they need the power's hardwired, yes.
Okay.
But the signal and they're all connected to the network. JB he can hear people, you can see people, and you can talk to them through our current system. And so he'll be able to scare some kids off if they're out there messing around.
Get out of here.
The other thing that we could do while we're running that power is that is a very dark area back there. And since we're opening the sidewalk, do we put some walk path lights on the fence that would shine down on that there while we're doing it? That's what this proposal is to take the power down where we need it for the cameras anyway, but then also put in outdoor, he showed them to us that they're kind of like
Like a wall pack.
It's like a wall pack, but it'll be on top of the fence, and we can change the angle.
you can shoot it out or right down on the sidewalk, and then it gives you another place like they can plug the cameras into that gives them that capability. So anyway, it's a small, relatively small number, but I wanted to bring it to you because it's something we've talked about a lot, and I just wanted to say if you think that we're inclined to do that, they can do this pretty quickly with that type of an upgrade while we're doing the polls. So it could be an add-on. Again, we like the work that they do. We don't have competing quotes for this exact piece, but again, I think we can treat it as an add-on to what they're already doing because they're out there working on the electrical right now. As soon as the water.
We need to do it tomorrow morning for the hookup of the service again.
They just run conduit, down the fence, then you've got the gates, so they're gonna have to go underground for that.
They go under the sidewalk because they gotta go under for the light pole anyway.
They're burying the conduit all the way down for the lights and for the cameras, so they'll just pull off of that.
They'll go conduit, then bury the whole thing outside of the fences, and then bring it into the gate.
I like the idea of having some safety lights out there, especially.
Well, that's kind of how it got brought up. He and I were talking, and he was talking about having some kind of lighting, at least where people are walking. I mean, we don't play tennis at night, but that sidewalk, if people do use it, it's dark over there.
Yep.
And if neighborhood families are walking their, strollers down through there and it's dark, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea just for liability purposes to have some kind of lighting back there.
You may have some kids walk the ball game that walk back.
Yes, that too as well, yeah.
So the 17,000 that we agreed to last meeting for them, there was some lights, but that was more for the parking lot, is that
That's
correct?
parking lot
Yeah,
lights.
just-
There are
just wanted to
3
clarify.
24-foot lights that were installed for the
Yeah.
parking lot light,
Yeah.
which will help, but they're all gonna be shining towards the
Right,
parking
it's
lot.
not, but,
Yeah.
Got it.
So do you guys have any desire to, I can bring this up on other business tonight and just add this, or we can talk about it more, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention because it was something that we
I
had.
think that kind of goes under safety, and I agree that safety.
If you you haven't noticed since I've gotten here, Doc, I'm huge on lighting. 20 years working with middle school kids around middle schools, and a lot of things in the evening or dark, nighttime. It's really good to have lighting for people because you just don't know who's going to be there. Grandma, grandpa, wheelchair, you just don't know.
All right, that's all I have for the work session. We can stop the stream if you guys are good with taking a little break before our